when I listen to what they say. You know, there's some of you, forgive me, that just joined the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case, the 2 little 4 and 6-year-olds that are missing out of Nova Scotia. However, there are those of us that have been here since the beginning. And there's one thing I can tell you. Is this counterproductive listening to the RCMP, in my opinion? And the reason I feel that way is because from the very beginning, within a very short amount of time, I believe it was 2 weeks in, after the kids went missing on May 2nd from Lansdowne in Nova Scotia, Canada, that the RCMP came out and made a presser. And those of us that have stayed in this case since the very first day, like myself, Daphne's case files, and a lot of people out there. It's a crime and shame. They were in it from the beginning. A lot of people were. A lot of people have fallen off. However, we all recall that the RCMP said that there was nothing to lead them to believe that the children would be alive any further. Nothing to lead them to believe that the children were okay. And so we had to take that serious, that we were now on a recovery mission. And so it was 3 months later, which is now 4 months total, almost 3.5 months later, that now they've come out with the idea that they're going, you know, they went and took the cadaver dogs, from my understanding, over to the Martel property, found nothing. However, their justification when we're asked, why are you just now bringing the cadaver dogs out, is the contradiction, the counterproductive answer of there was nothing for them, there was nothing they believed that led them to the idea that cadaver dogs would be needed because they didn't have anything concrete that the children were no longer alive. Then what in the world were you talking about in the beginning, informing the public 2 weeks into it that the children weren't alive? If you didn't believe the children were alive then, that's when cadaver dogs become essential. Yes, they can miss. They missed Brian Laundrie. The cadaver dogs missed Travis Decker. We're starting to seriously question dogs, right? Polygraphs don't work. But also, it just makes you realize how counterproductive and contradictive that the RCMP is being with their own words. Thank you, Shay, for being a member, and welcome Shay and Laura to our True Crime Tarot class held on Saturdays. It'll be 3 o'clock this week, CDD time. Can't wait to see you both there. Nobody cares, hon. I can help you if you want to just email me. If somebody will drop my email, I can help you out. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot here. So we're going to be talking about the blanket. We're going to be talking about the boot print. And I really do think this is something that is proof that the children didn't just wander on their own. Because if any evidence at all is planted, then that's a missing child's case, no longer a missing child's case. There's nefarious behavior, right? You guys, sorry about that. I want you to take a good look at this handsome young fella. He's 5 years old. His name is Darius McDougall. He went on a walk out in the Crow's Nest Pass with his siblings. He does have some learning disabilities, from my understanding. He is now missing for 3 days. We are desperate for your help because sometimes the public is the biggest help of all.
Search for a missing 5-year-old boy in the Crow's Nest Pass. Search for a missing 5-year-old boy.
Hold on just a minute. I've got to turn her way up. this is a good recording too. I enhanced it.
Search for a missing 5-year-old boy in the Crow's Nest Pass is now onto its third day. Darius McDougall was last seen walking with his 6 siblings near the campsite in the backcountry before he got separated. Carson Marsick reports efforts to find the young boy continue day and night.
This is a current report as of this morning.
The search continues near Island Lake in the Crow's Nest Pass for 5-year-old Darius McDougall.
What they are now doing is expanding search area. As time goes on, there's a potential that young Darius may have left the initial search area. So that search area will continuously be increased.
RCMP say Darius was walking with his siblings on a mountain road that allows camping on Crown land when he got separated around 11:30 Sunday morning. McDougall has autism and police say that may prevent him from responding to others. More than 72 hours later, search and rescue crews are continuing to canvass the area on foot and in the sky.
We are offering every SAR resource possible throughout Alberta and BC to support this search.
The area off of Highway 3 near the Alberta-BC boundary includes steep terrain, with dozens of search and rescue members focusing on an area about 2 kilometers in.
Hi, Carla.
At this point, there's no indication that that foul play is involved in this. But again, we keep our investigations very broad at this point.
And they're also saying they do not want any public help whatsoever because they do not want any evidence or anything contaminated. They also are worried because it's a treacherous search and they don't want to be looking for more people. Also, you have to worry when they say contaminated. Let's say that they find boot prints like they did in the Jack and Lilly case. If somebody has small little kid feet, which I actually have a friend that wears a size 3 child's shoe. She's tiny though. But anyway, or if they brought children, which maybe they bring some, those footprints could walk over the actual person of interest's footprints and muddy it up. And so that's a little bit of what's going on with the Jack and Lilly case. Is we have this complication that there were searchers out that found the boot print, but yet and the footprints, but yet they themselves allegedly had a child with them. Now, it seems so simple to me to be able to rule that out by simply gauging, like, let me see your shoe you were wearing, little kid. Thank you. Now let me see if that matches this size 11 boot print that matches the one in the driveway as well. And also, that boot print, it matches Lily's boot size and the type she was wearing. It had the same impression. So, I get what they're saying about not wanting the public out there.
And we're looking at every single possibility.
Those living in the area say the search for the little boy is on the minds of everyone.
It's just so devastating. We live in such a beautiful area, and to think they're out for a walk and this little fellow just wandered off. I mean, our hearts break for the family. I can't imagine what they are going through.
It's rough country out there. I understand it's up Blondrum Creek. It's rough country, and I really hope for a successful outcome.
And while the search continues, officials say they remain confident that Darius will be found alive.
We are still in the stage right now where we are still very, very hopeful. No, there's no talk on the ground of anything other than a positive outcome.
Carson Marsick, CTV News, Crow's Nest Pass.
All right, so I want to keep an eye out for that little boy. Get his face out there. Let's go back up and get a picture of him. He is 5 years old. He's approximately, I'm guessing, 40 pounds just from knowing what kids are about that weight. And like I said, 4 foot tall. He went missing on the 21st. We are now on the 24th. We're into day 3. So we covered it yesterday on day 2. That was our first day. So contact the Crow's Nest Pass Detachment 403-562-2866 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222 tips. Either of those numbers. Again, Crime Stoppers 1-800-222-TIPS. All right, my lovelies, that is about this beautiful little boy. I want to ask God himself to step in and bring this boy home, please. Okay, so we've got Daniel from, Dan. We'll say Dan because we have Daniel Martell too. This is Dan from the Drunk Turkey Show. He did an excellent job of sharing the information. So give his channel a lot of love and support and make sure and sub up to him. He also covered the Brian Kohlberger Idaho 4 case as well as I did. And we were on different sides of the fence of what we believed happened and probably still are. But we were, we show a lot of respect towards each other. And with that, he's doing a good job on this case of also, providing the other side of the coin. You don't want everybody to agree with your theory because otherwise it's not challenged. And I personally am going to just say, I want us to remember something. Let me mute this for a minute. We'll just play the picture. You can watch it. We'll rewind it when it's time to play it. So I want to give my view real quick here too. And that is this. We all are aware of Lily's blanket. We are all aware of Lily's blanket. It was wadded up and put in a garbage bag and placed at the end of the driveway. Okay, that's what the record shows. Now, in order for the children to decide to take this on the trip, we have to remember some things. They haven't eaten any breakfast and they haven't taken any food. So they're not preparing to go anywhere because kids are all about food. They'll run outside barefoot in the middle of the snow, but they aren't going to let their belly grow because kids are all about food all the time. It's one of the biggest costs for parents is, keeping the kids fed, and they always want snacks. And these children, alleged, according to Daniel Martell, had access to snacks, little fruit cups or pudding cups or whatever, yogurt, and other snacks. And all they did, pull up a chair and get what they want. Nothing got done that way. No coats are missing. The slider door has been shut. And yet, they're going to have to, now keep this in mind, for them to be responsible, the children themselves, for that blanket to be in that tree, they're going to have to stop at the end of the driveway. They're going to have to rip open the bag, and they're going to have to pull a piece of that blanket out. Now, they're going to have to walk it and hold on to that piece of blanket through all this walking that you're going to find out is about 2.5 miles, which is going to take them about an hour, right? So for 1 hour, these kids aren't going to set it down. They're not going to let the wind grab it. They're going to hold on to this little piece of blanket. Then they're going to get to where we're at, this tree right here. And they're going to have to put it 6 foot and 15 foot in. 6 foot up and 15 feet in on a branch. So, explain to me, first of all, why the children wouldn't care about food, don't want to take their jackets, but would rip open the garbage and pull a piece of Lily's old blanket out. And then how in the world are these kids getting that piece of blanket 6 foot into the tree? And they'd had to go down a steep little ditch, and I'm talking steep little ditch, and then go in 15 feet and somehow get it up on the top of a 6 foot branch? You guys, that's so far-fetched. I wouldn't even read a book that had that narrative because it seems silly. Aw, Shay, thank you for the gifted membership. That is so very kind of you. Aw, and you got Carla. Thank you, Carla. You just got a new membership. Good to see you, hon. So you feel me? That's my problem. And so for me, the blanket itself being 6 foot up and 15 feet in, without a question in my heart, I fully believe that that was planted. So now, if I take the velocity of anything being planted in a missing child's case, I switch my gears to reverse. It's no longer a missing child. It's possibly an abducted child. Now the question would be, why would someone put that blanket up in the tree that high? Because it's not like, you're driving by, we initially thought it was ground level or something, and you're on the four-wheeler and it snags. This isn't going to snag out of your arms. This is up, wrapped around, as I think it was Haley or one of them said, wrapped around the branch. Or it could have been Cheryl said that, I don't remember, but one of them said that saw it, said that the blanket was wrapped around the railing, meaning the branch. And so and then it's about a quarter mile, if you will. You would have to, cut back, if you will, and then you're going to take an old little road down this ATV where the clearing's cut for the pipeline. You're going to have to go there, and there's an ATV path, and down that road you're going to find where the boot prints are. What? So it's almost as if somebody is like putting a red herring, which is a misdirect on purpose, way down here and saying, look at this blanket, looky-loo, you can't miss me. But could you be missed if this blanket is so far in, 15 feet in, and tied to this branch, and it's 6 foot up? It depends on what way you're coming. And that's what Daniel points out. So for me, I'm just not going to be able to accept that these children wandered off by themselves. And so we're left with questions. Why didn't Malaya bring her clothing home after she washed them on Thursday night at Patty's? But she brought home the children's clothes, but not her own, according to Janie. But then again, is Janie being honest? I don't think so. I have so many of you that post on here a comment. Janie's land's been searched. Her 2.5 acres has been searched so many times. And I'm telling you, it came out of Janie's mouth. I have the recording of Janie stating, not only does she have 2.5 acres that her trailer's on, that she also owns. She has 7 acres sandwiched like an Oreo cookie between the Martell Earl, which is Daniel's dad, and her brother. So, Earl has over 100 acres. I have no idea how many acres the brother has. But has Janie's 7 acres been searched? Has 100-acre woods been searched? So, Dan from the Drunk Turkey Show is showing these footprints, saying this is a close-up to what they saw on the pipeline. Unfortunately, that's a stock print, so I don't buy that they're like that at all. It would imply that there's a bare footprint, and now that's in question because Janie's saying that picture is a good replica of what they found for footprints out there. But that shows a bare footprint. Now, if that were true and it was an actual bare footprint, meaning barefoot, not bare, as in what was in Daniel's yard, which Dan shows Daniel Martell's yard, and you can see a bear come in the yard. So we'll see that in a little while here. But what I'm saying is, somebody's out there barefoot. Why? Why would somebody be barefoot? I think something's got miscommunicated. I know of a boot print, and I know that there was one boot print that was a child size that matched an 11 boot that Lilly wore that matched in the driveway and on the pipeline. But never before Drunk Turkey Show had I ever heard that there was anybody with a bare footprint. So if you guys know that, please correct me and let me know where we found out about this person walking barefoot, because I would have to factor that all in, and I really feel like that's a miscommunication. I really do. I haven't heard that anyway. Yes, CB, ask the question you would like about the blanket. I don't have any answers on the blanket. I'm completely confused. I have no idea. I want to know. Remember, Malaya's family's the one that found it, her friends. And her clothes didn't come home. That's like a premeditative, I'm not going to need my clothes. That's really that's really bizarre. I feel that the other thing was that really bothered me, and I really had a hard time in the evening last night. I was going to eat some supper, and this dawned on me. So we just got done with a child that went missing, and I got really scared. Everybody did, and within 48 hours they found the little guy safe and sound. 48 hours, right? Those are the magical numbers of risk. So after 48 hours, the chances are slim that a young one is in good condition in the woods. So Malaya left that property in 24 hours. Are you feeling me? She had zero hope. Zero. She already knew. And for me, how did she already know they wouldn't be coming back to that property before even 48 hours? We see other children make it just fine. But she picked up and left. And if Janie is being honest, if Malia didn't bring her clothes home and just brought the children's home, that's a big tell, because she knew she wasn't planning to go there. Now, it doesn't have to be nefarious. Maybe she was planning on taking the kids and leaving Daniel. And then the kids went missing. Maybe there was a big fight. I don't know. Maybe there's a big fight and something happened and they weren't watching the kids. The kids got away. Maybe they weren't in bed at all. Maybe they were fighting about, separating. Who knows? But for Malia to leave within 24 hours, you and I both know, that is one of the most telltale signs of a mother, that she knows. Either she's going to see her kids at another location and that's why she's leaving, or the kids aren't ever coming back to that location. So it's one way or the other for her. Now I have to say, this is the first time that in viewing all this work that Daniel and Janie have done, it actually shows a little bit of a different side. No, I don't trust them. No, I don't believe them. But at least they're still working on getting the information out here, even though they're taking a lot of heat. Because without them participating and sharing with us this type of information, it gets really hard to work through any more in the case. I do find it strange when Daniel says he guarantees that they won't find anything, but then you have to consider he's talking about his own yard. And I don't believe the children are there. Hey Nina, how are you? CB, are you saying she had zero hope on Wednesday, which I understand was laundry day, that she already knew then? No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying on May 3rd, 24 hours after the children go missing, It was like 28 hours after the children go missing. Malaya gives an interview, goes to the RCMP, and then splits before 48 hours is even reached. She had no idea if those children would be found crying and wet, needing their mama and needing a drink and water and medical attention. Nothing. She didn't have a clue. But she left. Or did she have a clue? See what I'm saying? So, with the blanket 6 foot up and 15 in, there's just no way the children did that. Which means somebody went into the garbage, decidedly, knowing. They would almost have to know that it's the children's blanket, right? Couldn't be an outsider abducting the kids, because they're not going to stop and be like, hold on a minute, I'm going to park my vehicle right at the end of the driveway here, and I'm going to rip open this and grab this little piece of this blanket and the kids. So it's not an outsider. And the kids didn't do it. So it leaves an insider only, is what I personally feel. In fact, if I was playing a game of Clue, I'm about ready to open that envelope and say, it's one of these 3 with the pink blanket on the 4-wheeler on the pipeline, or near the pipeline. Because that's telling when you find out it's 6 foot up, 15 in. And like I said, there's not an abductor in the world that's going to stop and know that Lily's blanket's in a garbage bag, rip it open, and take a piece. Never going to happen. Mother already allegedly ain't bringing no clothes home, so she ain't going to be living there or changing her clothes. That's premeditated that she is going to be leaving the property. Not necessarily premeditated that something's going to happen to the kids, though. Just that she's not planning on staying there because she won't have any clothes to wear. That's strange. Her leaving the property with it before 48 hours. Extremely, extremely suspicious. Her silence, extremely suspicious. And most of all, her family and friends finding the blanket 6 foot up and 15 feet in. That's more than I can count off and say, well, there's nothing to that. That's too much. What do you guys feel? Let me know. It's so frustrating, is it not? I really want the truth to come out. All right, I think we're getting close here. Let me see where we are on this. I'm going to take you up to where it's Daniel Martell. And right, hold on. I think it's near the end. Okay, this is it. Let me pause it. We'll get the volume back up. Let me push the volume up a little bit more, and I'll let you watch this part.
Really see what's visible from the road. It's like 15 feet from the road. Maybe not even. Yeah, a little more than 15 feet.
A little more than 15 feet? Pay attention to how far he has
And
to
this
go
is the
in.
exact branch. So, way higher than 5 feet in the air. It's actually over my head, so it's about 6 feet.
6 foot up.
That one right there. Draped over that branch.
Look how far in that
6 feet
is.
in the air, draped over the branch. It's pretty dense right there underneath.
How would the kids have got there?
This is one of the things that really that this one stumps me.
That's all you gotta say. I agree. I absolutely agree. Let's go over the facts again. The facts are, that is Lily's blanket. The facts are, it's 15 feet 15 feet deep into a ditch. Them little kids are not going to climb down that ditch and climb that tree and hang that up in the tree. Could the wind have whipped it out of their little hand and put it way up high? Well, did you guys hear of any gale force winds? You feel me? And so, if this other part of the blanket, if the blanket was once whole at the end of the driveway in a garbage can, it would only leave somebody familiar enough with the actual knowledge that the blanket was in the bag in the first place. That means it's the kids, which can't get it up 6 feet high. Or it leaves the people that threw it away. Janie knew because she said she knew. She saw Daniel do it. Daniel knew because he allegedly threw it in there. Malaya knew because she allegedly took it down off the window or whatever it was she had hanging on. So that's only 4 people. That's the kids. Well, 5 if you count both kids. And then they're ruled out, so that leaves Janie, Malaya, and Daniel. So which one put that blanket in that tree? And therefore, it only allows for foul play because of Daniel or Malaya or Janie tied that blanket there. That's foul play. I'm talking in the know, misdirection away from finding kids, the whole 9 yards. And so after today, I don't care what RCMP says. I don't care what anybody says. I have no more questions about if this is an accident where the kids wandered off. It's not. It's foul play in my book. All the way. And Malaya, if she didn't bring clothes home, if that's true, has now become my prime suspect for the first time. I don't know how you feel, so make sure and let me know. All right, my lovelies. I'm going to jump off here, and I will be back again very soon. I thank you so much for spending your time with me. You're incredible. I appreciate you. And make sure and hype the channel. That is actually helping my channel a great deal. So if you choose to hit the hype button, I want to say thank you in advance because that's amazing. Now, you'll have to figure out how the hype button works, but you have to do it after the live. So the replay crew, you guys are incredible and thank you. Also, if you'd be so kind to hit that like button, that also helps. It shows a great deal of support so that I keep coming on here and being with you, right? Otherwise, if nobody's listening, there's no point. And let's get their little face out there. Let's go back and look at this little feller. Not only do we have Jack and Lily missing, now we have Darius McDougall, who's only 5. So we've got a 4, a 5, and a 6-year-old missing, not from the same family. Let's pray that something happens today for the best. That today be the day that either Darius is found or Lily or Jack or both. I love you guys to the moon and back. Thank you all so very much. And if you would like to continue with me, I will be over on Crime Story Mama in about 30 minutes. And I look forward to being with you again. Have a wonderful day. Love you to the moon and